podcast, and a lot has been going on this week in the crypto market. We definitely want to cover a lot of topics today. So we'll go ahead and get started right into it. Want to make sure that the live stream that you guys can see it. Looks like you guys can see it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everybody who's here. Just a few guys. So welcome as always. If you are not watching this live stream live, doesn't really matter because I want to go ahead and go over the market, and it's very useful information regardless if you're watching it at the moment or if you're watching it later. So again, nothing is financial advice as we go through the crypto market. I am Josh, also known as Rager, here with Rager Crypto. I like to give updates on the market and crypto each and every week. And a lot of stuff that I've talked about this week has happened, and it's just because I have the experience. I've been here for a while. There are a lot of good traders out there, but at the same time, you have to be very smart about how you go to the market so that you can buy some generational dips, opportunities that are probably going to be coming our way in the next few weeks, if not days to months. But, you know, with that said, a lot of opportunity with crypto. Let's go ahead and break it down, what's going on. And so I'll go ahead and get to that. So, all right, guys. Now, we'll also be giving away $100 of Bitcoin. If you're here at the end of the video, you'll know how to get that, because so far for these Bitcoin giveaways, there have actually been people who have been imposters from the people who have actually won. And so, I mean, really, I almost respect the hustle. If you're going to make a brand new YouTube profile, still the picture, still the name, and just do all that, like, it's really wild to go out of your way to win $100 of Bitcoin. I mean, people must really love Bitcoin, but I can't have that happen. I have to make sure that the actual winner wins the Bitcoin. I think I sent several $100s of Bitcoin because I gave it to the fake people. So with that said, we'll go ahead and make sure that the actual winner will win. And I'll tell you how to do that. So to the market, Bitcoin. Now, this is the stock market, okay? So the thing about the stock market is the stock market actually closed today. This is important, okay? Because this actually goes into Bitcoin and crypto. So the stock market has had 4 weeks of monthly green candles. Technically, 5 months ago, here in April, look at that wick on that candle, okay? Just insane wick. I would say that was also pretty much a green month as well, just from the wick on that candle buying that up. Now, with that said, I want to go ahead and just, if you can see the highlight right here, I want to read this off to you. And so what this article talks about is just the stock market, what's been going on, as we know, all the inflation, the job data, stuff with the president. But despite the pullback in stocks on Friday, which is today, or if you're watching it this weekend, still, you know, yesterday, the day before, the major indexes were set for their longest streak of consecutive monthly gains in more than a year. I'm going to read that again. The stock market, basically the index, set their longest streak of consecutive monthly gains in more than a year. And I say that because if you look at this, rarely do you see the stock market go up 4 to 5 months in a row without a correction after that. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a deep correction, you know, maybe 5 to 10%, but, you know, 4 to 5 in a row every time, right? 10% here, 5%. There was a wick right here in this one. But if you go along and look at the history of the stock market, typically, you know, you get into 4 or 5 months and it tends to be red after that. So we're getting close. We've had 4 months. Technically, I would say this is almost a green candle. And why I say that is you really never see more than 5 months of the stock market green. So I think, yeah, we're going to pull back in the stock market. So how does that impact Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin's going to pull back with it. And that's the ugly thing about Bitcoin and crypto right now, is that it doesn't matter if there is zero correlation with the stock market to the upside. If the stock market pulls back, especially substantially, Bitcoin and crypto will pull back with it. And that's the ugly part. It won't pump with the stock market, but it'll pull back with it. And so that's the problem right now with Bitcoin needing a breather. Now, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. Let's go ahead. Let's go over there. Let's go to the Bitcoin chart. This is the daily chart. A lot of lines in here. Basically, what all these lines represent, go ahead and break this down, this was the top of the range on the daily, or here on the 4 hour. Yeah, that's what I had. Let me bring that up. Okay. So this was the top of the range. This was the bottom of the range. The white line, almost midline, was here in the center. And really what had been happening, you all know what's been going on. We've been testing the top of the range, the bottom of the range, and then finally we rejected and went to the bottom of the range, where we then somewhat went up just for about a day or so, but then we've nuked back down here and we're at new local lows. And if you watched my last few videos, I can probably go ahead and go to my YouTube channel. And if you were to look at this, you would probably think like, man, this guy's bearish, right? It's over, real or trap. You know, here's a reality check. When really, if you look and actually watch those videos, I'm not bearish whatsoever. I just say, don't overexpose yourself. Don't over leverage yourself. It looks like it's likely going to pull back more. We're going to have generational buying opportunities. And I did educate you guys on whether something was real or a trap. Is it a fake bounce or is it an actual bounce? And if you watch that, everybody who watched that stayed out of Bitcoin, stayed out of Ethereum. And if you bought Solana, you waited for confirmation and you're still up on that. Okay. So pretty good video. If you haven't watched that, I really just talk about how I'm going to probably say this a lot, that you have to allow the market to prove itself, meaning that don't just buy to buy. Okay. Even if the price looks good. Now, this is really helpful for trading too, is that a lot of times you can wait for it to show confirmation or not to long, or if it rejects, you can continue to short as it pulls back. But Bitcoin was unable to prove itself by breaking above 116 to 117. It couldn't stay above 112 for more than half a day, a few hours. And now we're breaking back down. Now, I think, again, after a breakdown like this, we go into a weekend and it's going to be range bound or sideways. Could dump more. I'm telling you right now, if it does dump more, I think that 105 to 103 is probably where you want to buy. Okay. That's if you were to basically zoom out. Let's go to the daily. That's like the 200 on the daily EMA. It matches pretty well with, if you go to like the 4 hour chart. This is technically right here is where the range began, or where it held support, broke above that range, held it, then moved on up the uptrend. And so I can see it coming down, testing that level. I think that we'll bounce between 105 to 103. Now, could it go lower? Yes, but again, you don't want to get ahead of yourself, because the only thing that you can do is you can put bids below that. So if you want to put bids below it, go to Coinbase or Kraken or Binance or whatever you use, or Hyperliquid, and you can put limit buys going down if you want to. Like for me, I truly believe Bitcoin's going to hit at least 150. That's like my conservative number. I would say right now I like 200K or more, 2 to 220. So that's a 2x. So if you truly have the money and capital put in there and dollar cost average, then limit bid down. I mean, if it does go from 103 or 105 down to 98, you have bids down there, because you never know also how quick that's going to be. It could be less than a minute that it stays down in that range if it goes down there. Okay. So could this be a bottom? It could, but again, how do you know? Got to get back above 112. I mean, it's got to get higher. And then on like the moderate time frames, higher time frames, you have to see this is a clear downtrend, guys. If you can't see that, you've got higher highs and higher lows. It's like clear as can be. Okay, until this changes, it's a downtrend on the intraday chart. Okay, short term, moderate term. If you zoom out and you go to the weekly, this is not a downtrend. Okay, because the weekly is not broken down yet. We continue to see. You can just look on these lines right here, these moving averages. Look at this. It bounces minimal on the weekly, minimal. Well, it bounces. The max that it goes is it goes slightly below the 50 EMA on the weekly. Okay, and that's again, my bottom range would be in the mid 90s to low 90s. That's the absolute bottom. Absolute. It'll wick below it, but we've seen that ever since 2023. We've seen it. 2023, the last 2 years, it's always bounced by that EMA. So again, and I probably don't want it to close lower than 100, because and then the weekly breaks and this uptrend breaks on the larger time frames. Okay. Can it still go up even though it breaks in the weekly on the 100? Yes. Okay. But excuse me, I'm just saying that I could see a wick down below this range. Let me show you right here. There's so many lines. Let me just do this. I'll just bring this up. Right here. We could see a break below here, but I don't, a wick below it. I don't want to see it close on the weekly below it. And then people are going to start speculating if that was the top or whatever. And even if it does that, doesn't mean that it's the top. I'm just saying typically when that structure holds, it's a good thing. So that's what you want to watch. So that's how deep we can get. Is it over? My thumbnail says that. Or it's not over. I don't think the downtrend's over, but I don't think the bull market's over either. So you can speculate on however you want to take that thumbnail, but in the end, I don't think anything is over as far as, you know, the local bottom or the all-time high. So that's Bitcoin. Basically, we've been ranging. We broke. I think the 105 to 103 is a great bottom. And if not that, I think we could wick below 100 down to 95 to 98. And I think it bounces, and I don't think the weekly close will close below 100. That's what I'm saying. Now, we've got a lot going on in the next few weeks. As I just told you, stock markets could pull back here, even if it's 5 to 10%. Okay, that's one thing. A lot of times, too, if you notice, a lot of times what will happen is that the stock market will hit highs, local highs, will wick above it or close above it on the daily, and then it pulls back. Okay? It just does it a lot. That's how, just, you know, they want people to get off sides. Kind of like Bitcoin. You know, you could almost technically call this a swing failure pattern, right? On the daily. Like it closed here on the daily, it came above. I don't know. Like that. You could say it's way more clear on Bitcoin right here. But whenever Bitcoin has that swing failure pattern, where basically there's the high price and it can't close above it, or it can't stay above it, and price nukes back down. I mean, last time we had that was here on in December, January, right? And then Bitcoin went and pulled back 30% right here. Okay. Right now, I think, what are we at? 15%? I haven't even checked. 13.5%. If you go down to 103, it's 15%, or 105, 15%. 103 is like 16, 17%. Down to 100, you get closer to around 18, 20%. And then down to those 98 to 95 range, you're going to get like 23 to 25%. So, I mean, still, that's not out of the question for Bitcoin to go that low, okay? I don't want you to worry, because the whole reason I'm telling you this is that I'm personally going to be putting bids down here, okay? So any place here, you can just put bids, dollar cost average in. You don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. You can just put $100, $1,000, $500, $10. It doesn't matter. If you want what you can afford to lose. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go lower, but personally, I think it's a great opportunity that to knowing that whatever you get here on bids, if you're holding it for 6 months, it's going to be higher. Okay. So that's Bitcoin. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, moving averages, people are asking, you're talking about, crossovers and stuff too. I mean, a lot of those moving averages is that they're lagging indicators. So I like to use moving averages. They work pretty well. I mean, a lot of trading can be super simple. Like I just told you guys, I mean, we look at the SFP, swing failure patterns. We look at the major zones, resistance and support, the horizontals. Like horizontal levels are way better to look than trend lines. Like stupid trend lines are made to be broken. I hate trend lines. They rarely do anything. But horizontals, a lot of times you can short and long and buy and find Fibonacci levels too. Like they just work. A lot of the algos and bots. This is what I want to tell you about Ethereum really fast. Ethereum basically had like a blow off the top. I mean, personally, it's what it looks like. If you go to the 2 week, if you go to the monthly, let me look at the monthly really fast. I mean, monthly chart looks good. Let's go back to the weekly. But the thing about Ethereum really fast is that anytime, look at this, anytime these moving averages on the weekly, you have to have that mean reversion, okay? And these are moving averages, right? Average price for a certain time period, okay? Ethereum price has been well above it on the higher time frames. What does that mean? Whenever you get well above a price, usually after a period of time, it comes back down, okay? It's called gravity. So gravity comes, and let's look at this. So Ethereum right here from, let's see here. It went, right? It doubled or 3x'd, more than 3x'd. But if you look at Ethereum back in 2021, right? Like it ripped, man, higher. And what happened? What happened to Ethereum? Well, it was well above the moving average, up over 100%, and then it crashed 60%. Okay, and it came back down. Right, look at the 50 weekly again, kind of like Bitcoin. It didn't break above it, below it, excuse me. Didn't break below it. Didn't break below it here. But anytime it gets substantially above these moving averages, especially this 20 weekly 20, okay, it comes back down and at least touches it. Okay, same thing. This is the end of the bull market. So, but the same thing here. Check this out. Right here, this red line. I mean, Ethereum at the highs was, 50% above it. Well, what came back? It came back down. It pulled back substantially. Same thing here. Same thing here. It pulls back. Look how far we are above the moving average here on the 20, right? Oh, another 50% again. I'm just basically trying to tell you, when we push this far up on Ethereum, it's going to pull back, okay? This weekly chart, this weekly candle's ugly, engulfing the bullish. And so do I think that it's going to come back down and hit at least 33? I don't necessarily think that, but I do think that it will pull back. And I do think that as long as it stays above probably 35, 34.95, whatever on the weekly, that it's probably fine. So will it wick down here? Definitely, possibly. I think it could at least get down here to the 3,500 area, okay? So right now, Ethereum is down 12%, which is not a lot. And like I said, 3,500 is around 30%. That's normal. Like, it doubled that in 2021. It corrected 60%, which is a pretty big candle, right? If it were to do that now, which it won't, by the way, look at that. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's like $1,900 or $2,000. I mean, it's crazy. Okay, so I don't know. It's just not going to do that. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is that I think Ethereum continues to correct, but let me say the big but here. On the daily, we still have higher highs and higher lows. So the downtrend on the daily hasn't been broken yet. Again, a daily downtrend break is, it's not really that big of a deal. It's not great. I mean, it broke down here. But the weekly, you want to watch that more than the daily. And again, that's just more often than not when the weekly structure breaks, it's pretty bearish, okay, especially with major assets. Doesn't mean that doesn't mean that the top is in. So, but I'm just telling you typically. So again, once the daily breaks 4,070 here, it's probably likely it pulls down further. I'm sorry, I've got the magnet on this, so it's sticky. So if it breaks here, I do think that, again, it's coming down, and it's likely gonna come down to, potentially this area. Okay, 33 to 35. I mean, again, if you like Ethereum and you believe that these treasuries are going to continue to be frothy, meaning that price will run up, then put limit bids down there. Put limit bids at 35 if you like Ethereum, right? That way you don't have to stick to your phone all day. You don't have to stay on the charts all day. You can just do your thing and then allow the limit bids to buy. And maybe like they're called stink bids, right? I mean, maybe you do feel really confident about Bitcoin, and you're like, man, if it goes to 93K or 95K, man, I would buy a whole Bitcoin and I can afford it or whatever. And if you can, bid big down there. Maybe you don't bid big at 105, 103, but you're just like, but if it gets down to low 90s, or if Ethereum gets down to low 3000s, I'm going to bid big. All right. People do that as well. I do that a lot. Solana is like the strong altcoin right now. It's a strong crypto because, again, the digital asset treasuries, the DATs, DAT treasuries, is kind of frothy right now. Again, frothy is the cool word for bullish that we've used. The markets are good. People are buying it, and it looks good overall. I was pretty clear in my video that I said, look, if it comes back above and it breaks this range, right, it's down here, and I said if it comes back above the previous videos and it breaks above 98, I said 198, I'd rather buy at 198 in a retest of 200 than buy at 195 and it just go back down to 180. So, with that, just understand that that's been another buying opportunity. This $200 level is a pretty good level to buy. So if you bought here, I mean, honestly, I can see this kind of running back up, especially the weekend, because things are just going to go sideways here in the next few days because of the holiday. Monday, the stock market's closed. So if Bitcoin goes sideways and chops, Solana could move on up again because, again, it's in a clear uptrend. I mean, you can look at the moving averages. You can look at this. And if you zoom out, right, like it's in a clear uptrend too on the higher time frames. So Solana with the treasuries has not been a blow off the top. It's barely surpassed its previous high before the treasuries were announced. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, I think 6 months out from now, and I always give conservative numbers, but 6 months out from now, which I think it's way sooner than that, price will be above 300. I think it'll hit new highs. If the treasuries are true, the same thing happened with Ethereum. Now, what will happen with this, right? That's 50% up, right? It's 300. So, a few months out from now, maybe Solana breaks the highs. Probably going to be likely the same. It's going to break the high, probably be a swing failure pattern, probably dip back down to 270s, 250s, and then maybe it continues up. But that's a long time from now. I don't want to speculate. The only thing that I want to tell you is I think that price is much higher in 3 to 6 months for Solana than it is at $200. That's my personal opinion. I don't mind to buy here under 200 and just holding it. Again, you don't have to do a lot, but now if Bitcoin pulls back again, so this is the thing to know about Solana. It's been so hot right now, and I'll go to the next coin, is that this could potentially uptrend this weekend, and then Bitcoin could pull back again further down to 105, 103. And I'm just saying by the time Bitcoin pulls back hard again, this could maybe go up, and then it could just end up hitting 200 again. So I'm just saying, like, it's not as bad. I would rather be in Solana, something that's broke a downtrend and that's on a current uptrend and that's showing and proving that it's strength, than I would be rather in Ethereum, at least on the lower time frames. Look, Ethereum just can't break above 4,700. Again, it is keeping, right? Lower lows, lower high. I mean, higher highs, higher lows. So Ethereum could come up, and we don't know what's going to happen between now and FOMC. I'm just saying be cautious. Just because stocks are at a 4-month high, ETH did have a blow off the top, and job data is going to come out next week. The PCE, as far as the consumption from consumers, that hit pretty normal, but prices continue to go up. So that PCE today was on target, but the whole thing is prices continue to go up, and will that worry the Fed? I don't know. We'll wait to see. Let's look at a couple more coins, guys. We'll give away some Bitcoin, okay? We're at 26 minutes. I don't usually like to keep these over 30 minutes. Chain link is weak. The key to watch is break above 2460, but really it's up here. I marked these levels before the price even gets up here. And check it out. It rejected perfect. It wicked really hard right there. I don't know what the deal was with that, but it wicked and it tapped it exactly, and then it dumped afterwards. So, I mean, again, I like Chainlink. I think Chainlink's going to run pretty high, but it needs to prove itself. Again, bids down below here would be probably around $20 if the market breaks down. So I could see a break below 20. If Bitcoin breaks down to where maybe we think it is, you're going to hear all kinds of speculation. I'm hearing a lot of 95K now from people. So that just started today. Naturally, everybody, when Bitcoin was bouncing like up here, they were like, oh, it's going to 17K next. And it broke down. Now everybody's like, oh, it's 95K. Because everybody's emotional. Like, you can't ever get like a practical, logical from anybody. Everybody's just trying to catch clout, basically, and to say, I told you so. Because tomorrow, that same person who said 95K might say 103K. And regardless of what it is, they'll delete their 95K tweet and say, hey, I said retweet their 103. It's stupid. Twitter's the dumbest thing ever. I hate it now. It's gotten so much worse. I won't vent. That's why I like YouTube. Because like you guys, I mean, have watched me for a long time, I think. And then I have like the Telegram channel. But it's just, and plus Twitter like shadow banned me or something. They like cut down my views. I really, like, I don't know what the deal is, but it's just gotten worse over the last 7 years I've been there. But again, sorry, I won't go on that, but that's what we're here on YouTube. But you just got to ignore all that crap and just set your bids. Okay. Stop. Just ignore people, what they say, and set your bids accordingly. All right. Chainlink though, if Bitcoin breaks down here, I think at least 20. All right. Hyperliquid, I don't know. Maybe potential swing failure pattern. We'll see. I mean, again, Hyperliquid's higher highs and higher lows. It's also trending up, but a lot of people have been selling at $50. I do like Hyperliquid. I don't like this weekly candle. This weekly candle's ugly, this wick. So let's see how it closes on Sunday. Based on that, if this just looks like it's going to go lower. But again, if Bitcoin does go lower, Hyperliquid has been quite strong. So just expect this not to dump as much as some other ones. So this is a better one, I think, probably like Solana, where it's going to continue just to go up, up, and up. So I would say maybe even by high 30s, right? By like 37, it would bounce. So it's pretty strong. So for this, just watch if anything below 37 right now, depending on how hard, if the market does pull back. I got to say if. I don't want to say be 100% positive because it could bounce. We could next Friday, by the way, is job data on September 5th. I'll make a video by then. But if it comes out bad, like low jobs, then it just increases the risk of the Fed cutting rates, and the market's probably going to pump next weekend if that happens. If the jobs are actually good, then the market's probably going to dump. So, and we're probably going to get chop like Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't know volatility, but just know that based on Friday's a big day in the market next week. Somebody asked me to chart Polygon, by the way. Polygon is just going sideways. It's got to break above 25 cents. And honestly, if I were to zoom out, see this level right here? It's like almost where price wicked at before, and this is where price rejected before it went down even lower. That's kind of where it bounced on the higher time frames in June of 2022. Man, that was a long time ago. Polygon's kind of weak. Like, this is not a coin. Like, look at this chart. Okay, let me be real with you. Can this go back higher? It can. But, like, this is not a chart that I'm not looking to buy. Like, this does not excite me. Okay, short-term trade. But if you had the opportunity, if you only had, say, $10,000 to put in a coin or any coin, why are you putting it in this? It does. I mean, I just go buy Solana. Why? Look at this. Sorry, moving the chart. Look at this. It's an uptrend. Why are you putting money in this? Don't do it. Okay, do what you want. Not financial advice, but don't do it. Okay, I'm not doing it. You do what you want. It just looks bad. Okay, we good? It looks bad. All right. Yeah, and somebody's talking about, Bitcoin 108 dip earlier. Yeah, I think, look, if it's a good buyer, if it could go lower. If you believe that Bitcoin, I'm too much drawing here, but if you believe Bitcoin is going to go higher, which I do, it's 108K or 106K. It doesn't really matter. A lot of times the biggest thing is if you dollar cost average, and if you're like, quote, an investor, like I have spot Bitcoin from 2019, I think, and I've got it in cold storage. I honestly almost couldn't get into it, by the way. So don't even try to like hack me or break into, because I literally had to do like 10 phone calls already with the company. I couldn't even get into it to do an audit. It's like, it's that hard. Even I can't even get into it. And like, anyways, I got cold storage. It's freaking impossible. Like, I don't even know if I'll be able to sell it if it does hit a high. But I want to hold it for a long time. So yes, I'm a spot holder, long term, multi-sig, love it. Put your keys everywhere, different signatures. You'll never lose it. You can't get it stolen because you have to have multiple signatures. But long term, good. Short term, if I'm trying to catch a long, right? Like, if you buy at 108K and you're longing there, I mean, it's a little bit more risky, right? But I mean, bottom line, if you're buying there to hold, it's fine. I just think it's fine. So I don't like longing into a weekend, by the way. So that's why I say that 108K, if you mention it and it hit there today, I don't want to long into a weekend because the market is illiquid. So there's not as many traders in the weekend. People take, these big funds, set their bots and algos or whatever, and it's super illiquid and it's volatile. And you get these wicks, right? Like, you'll get these 1 minute wicks, maybe up or down $1,000 or two. And you shouldn't do high leverage anyway, but you can lose money or liquidate or close out because you're scared. So if you're trading, typically, if you're perps trading, futures, whatever, just make sure typically to beware of the weekends. And if anything, Sunday close, Sunday open, late Sunday is fine. I think more volume after the the stock market futures open, I think 5 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. After that's fine. But before then, good luck. Like, I just tell people that, like, you're going to lose money potentially on a stupid wick from a liquid market. So, all right. So let's see, guys. We're going to go ahead and give away some Bitcoin. Let's just, the only chart left, excuse me, that I want to look at. Bonk is strong. So potential bottom here. There's apparently some news. I mean, I keep hearing stuff about Kick, the streaming network. I know the guys from Bonk Fun, and good guys. They work really hard. Bonk Fun, their launch pad has been way down, but they're well connected. They're smart. And so I think Bonk, if they continue on this route, will end up hitting much higher. I think that they can break definitely above 4.00004, and then I should say 4, and then 6. They can probably hit above that in a frothy market, and that would be more like Q4. Okay. So I think decent buy opportunity here. It's showing strength the last 4 days, even in a down market. So that would be one that I could spot buy here and not really worry about it, because I'm not for sure if we'll get much lower than 2. Like it went to 0.1957, right? So, all right. Let's see here. Bitcoin liquidations. We had some decent liquidations today. 460 of longs. That's to be expected. If you notice these liquidation patterns, like you'll have a really big day, then several days of not very big, then a really big day. Then that's just kind of how it happens. I expect next Friday to maybe be really volatile like that. FedWatch, 87% still chance of rate cuts. Likely sell the news. Let's just wait till we get closer. I think a lot of people, including myself, are super skeptical. But basically, I'm going to make a video talking about what happens after rate cuts. And we're almost at 37 minutes, so I got to give away some Bitcoin in a minute. But basically, what happens is typically the first month that they have rate cuts, the market dumps historically. So the first month. And then what happens is that you have a massive run up over like the next months. So that could likely happen. What we do know is that rate cuts tend to be, the first rate cut tends to be very volatile, like the market all over the place. So high leverage is can't do it. And then knowing that it tends to pull back the first couple of weeks, and then it runs. And so I'll find some charts about that. Hey, Swamp Dog. So Swamp Dog, I gave your Bitcoin to somebody else. So drop in this video, at the end of the video, Swamp Dog, he won Bitcoin last time. Drop your Bitcoin address again after this video, okay? In the comments. I know it's you, and you can't fool me. Don't try, everybody else, don't try anything, because I'm not going to fall for it. I've got his info now. All right, that's the only other thing. So to wrap it up, I want to go ahead and give away $100 of Bitcoin, but just remember that Bitcoin, again, some good buying opportunities, 103 to 105, as low as 95. Ethereum is well above the moving average on the weekly chart. On the weekly chart is ugly, so it's probably going to pull back more, in my personal opinion, to as low as 35 potentially. It's about 30% pullback, potentially. Nothing is set in stone, by the way, and I'm allowed to change my mind week to week, okay? Any good trader and investor will change their mind week to week. That's why you have to be fluid with the market. I'm just giving you up scenarios, down scenarios. Right now, the market looks more gloomish, so that's why I'm giving you more down scenarios. Solana's the strongest altcoin out there in crypto. It's in an uptrend. I can see it going higher than this. Even if Bitcoin pulls back, it might not break 2, or it won't break the 190s. Unless Bitcoin just totally nukes in the stock market, right? Chainlink, got to break above 24. Hype, uptrend, but a lot of people are selling that. I don't like Matic. It's an ugly chart, down only, sideways, but I would not buy it until it broke at least 32 cents. 32, 33. I'm not touching it until it does that. Make the market prove itself. Bonk looks good. In the stock market, looks like it wants to pull back, at least on the higher time frames. It looks like it's topped out, but it might not be. So let's see. That's why we make these videos. All right, so this time, to win $100 in Bitcoin, are you guys ready? Oh, last thing, do you think Bitcoin in September will be red or green? Well, it's hard to say because it depends on where Bitcoin closes in August. So if it bounces here, and if it goes up to say 112, it's hard to say, really. Let's just say this, that whenever you're predicting prices or you're looking at prices, it's really hard to like time it. It's easier to say, I think price will hit 105, 103, put limit bids there, because it could wick down there really fast or it could slow bleed down there. You know, it's hard to know. Historically, Bitcoin and crypto has been red in September. So I'm going to go ahead and say red, even though we've already pulled back from 124 to 108. But for any reason, we're at, say, 103 or 105 at the end of August and it closes down here, I would say then maybe green, because again, I don't necessarily think that it's going to stay under 100 for long. Okay. So that's a hard question. It's a great question. It's a hard question though. But I think the most important thing is to put those bids down there. And that's the hard thing about the market, because we have been up only since April and it's August. So you've got 4 months of up. And yes, we've had these pullbacks, but we haven't had like a downtrend, specifically in stocks. So it's like we're kind of due. Okay. All right. Bottom line, this is what I want you to do, because if you don't do it this way, then people will like steal your Bitcoin, or they'll try to. So I'm going to do it in an easier way this time. I'm going to say after the video, which I'm about to shut down, everybody you listening, after the video, comment in the comments below this video, and you need to put a Bitcoin address. If you don't put a Bitcoin address, I can like say that you're the winner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down. It's totally random. It's totally random. I do this random thing, totally random. And then I will pin the winner at the top. Okay. I will pin the winner at the top of the thing, and you will be the winner. And I'm going to say, this is the address I'm going to send it to. And then that way, nobody can take your money, because I still owe somebody else money, because scammers have taken their money twice in a row. So I got to make sure to get them their $100 of Bitcoin. I mean, if scammers keep taking the Bitcoin, I'm not going to be able to give Bitcoin out all the time, okay? If that makes sense, let me know in the comments in the chat, okay? But I want you to comment in the video, and I want you to leave a Bitcoin address, and I will randomly pick one. You'll be the winner, and then we may do it differently each time. But for right now, I can actually access the chats here. And so maybe next time we'll do it in the chat. But for now, we're going to do it in the comments and see how it goes and go from there. Okay, guys? All right. Well, with that said, I'm going to do my little close here. You guys have a great rest of your day. Trade safe, and I will